Welcome to Little Bighorn Treasure Hunting Sources 87. First, I would like to thank all the folks who came to my display at Matthew and Wesley's August Indian Territories Antique Show in Shawnee, Oklahoma. These two young men have been asking me to attend their show for years, but it's on opening weekend of deer season at home. My son and I, over the last 25 years plus, have hunted and patrolled for trespassers on our friend's ranch opening weekend. Well, my brother asked me at the Cody, Wyoming show if I would cover his tables in Shawnee, Oklahoma, as he had other business that weekend. With much thought, I got together with a buddy who has also been trying to get me to go and has been attending for several years. So I made hasty plans to attend. Now remember, I want you to doubt what I tell you, question what I say, and here's a video and a story that deserves that kind of scrutiny. The display was very well received once again, and the afternoon came quickly when, close to closing, a man walks up wearing a well-worn, short-brimmed felt hat with a pinched front crown, after the fashion of Indiana Jones, sporting an untrimmed full beard and dressed like a hard-working man. The display shows artifacts and historical reports for the symbol for horse, which is a horseshoe, and the Cheyenne mark, like the Christian fish you see on the back of cars and necklaces and other items that Christians have. Jim was the man's name, and he asked if I knew Wendell Grandgard, and I responded yes and showed him all the historical reports from Wendell. Jim told me that his wife, Mouse, and he had displayed a dug-up bulldog at Wendell's museum in Mitchell, South Dakota for a time, and Wendell had closed it because of the China coronavirus. I told him that I'd like to look at it and didn't give it a whole lot more thought. Now remember, just a few weeks earlier, we videoed Custer's RIC revolver, video 81. And didn't even know I was going to the Shawnee show at that time. But days later, I found out about going. Remember now, doubt and question what I tell you. The next day, Jim comes in and brings his display box, which he had made, with a rusty relic short barrel pistol missing the grips, in a Wendell letter. Sitting Bull then sent, here's from the letter from Wendell. Sitting Bull then sent for Buffalo Calf Pipe to perform the Wakastunyan ceremony. That is in video 81. I talked about that, and that was in repentance for all the items the people had taken from the Little Bighorn that Sitting Bull had told them Wakantanka did not want them to take. The white spirit and the stone handles were then removed. Now remember, white stones, like you see here on the table, they were sacred to the Indians. Could care less about gold, but the white stone was sacred. They felt spirits lived in it. The white spirit and the stone handles were then removed. Buffalo Calf Pipe had brought some sinew lacing and a tan deer hide, but he needed some buffalo glue. So he stopped at a nearby lodge where a woman was boiling the buffalo hooves to make glue to patch her lodge. Buffalo Calf Pipe asked if she would bring some of her glue to Sitting Bull's lodge. The ceremony began by the fire in the lodge, which was in the center of the lodge. Sitting Bull and Buffalo Calf Pipe began singing a song as they cleaned the shiny revolver to be Wani Yi, offering and sacrifice, which they said remove the unclean Wakan Kanapi, spirits of a person. Then they took ochre, which if you watch my video on ochre, it's that red powder that they would wet and paint with and paint their bodies with. Then they took ochre from a medicine bag and chipped off a piece, ground it into powder, and spit into it and mixed it into a paste. The paste was applied on the pistol as part of the ceremony, then put in the deer skin with the edges glued with the buffalo glue and then sewn with sinew. The bag was buried in the lodge for Wakantanka's forgiveness, for the people taking the spoils of war. Now, these stories come from more than one source. They come from Orwell Solway, Benjamin Black Elk, and then David Bald Eagle, whose grandfather raised him after his parents died, and he was his grandfather. And White Bull had those ivory grips that Sitting Bull had taken off, and when when he had told the story, he would hold them in his hands and rub them to get the spirit out of them. So right away, I noticed on the pistol that the barrel appeared to be shorter than the RIC in video 81, and the grip seemed a different shape. Jim went to get a soda, so I called Wendell, who fortunately answered. First question was, do you know Jim and the revolver? He asked if Mouse was with him. So obviously he knew Jim, because I never mentioned Mouse. Asking about the barrel length, Wendell concurred and added Custer received the revolvers as gifts from two different people. It seems Custer was given weapons and other items for favor as well as gifts from dignitaries he took on hunts. A derringer in the bottom of a basket with 2 bottles of wine on top from the sutler wanting to sell whiskey to Custer's men was an example of that, and there were many others. Jim said he bought the relic from a man named One-Armed John, who had bought it from the Rusty Relic Collector, who found it on August 13th, 1928. On the Little Bighorn battlefield. Accompanying the gun was a well-aged piece of paper with the very early style letters stating that fact. I don't know what to think about this, because this one is easy to doubt and question. But we've got to put it out there and let you decide. There's been so many coincidences, and we have been blessed with so many unbelievable items and histories that we've uncovered. Got more videos coming. You'll see what I mean. God bless.